Hello and welcome back to coverage of the World Magic Cup. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Simon Gertzen, and it is our pleasure to bring you coverage here. We're in stage one, round number two. Both of the teams that you're about to watch lost their first round of the day here on day number two, but we are in pool play, and what that means is this is an elimination match. We are watching Denmark versus Italy, two of the countries that have claimed the World Magic Cup title and looking to try to be the only country to be a repeat winner. And one of them is going to go home after this match.
No. Nielsen is a former champion. Mengucci is a former champion. Interestingly, they are not playing against each other. Yesterday we saw a lot of captain-on-captain matchups. Here, Nielsen is on table 8.
That's right, but no slouch here. Oscar Christensen in the seat for Denmark is a GP champion. Oscar knows how to battle, and Mengucci's going to have his hands full. Now, what do you make of the start here for both of our players? It looks like it's big red in the hands of Christensen, facing against the most ubiquitous deck in the field, Golgari midrange for Mengucci.
Mengucci's start is tremendous. Didn't quite make use of that Llanova Elves, but otherwise this is looking super strong, and the big red deck is in trouble already.
And it looks like Mengucci's happy to leave Vivian Reed on top of the library as well. So more bad news for Oscar Christensen on the other side, who's had a pretty anemic start here. Land, and yes, there is a treasure map on turn 2, but this is supposed to be the big red deck. Oscar really needs to keep hitting these land drops and start affecting the board, and he needs to do it soon because, boy, red's going to have a tough time dealing with a bunch of 5 toughness, 4 toughness, 3 tough. You know, these things are big.
And the Planeswalker on turn 4 on top of that.
That's right.
Potentially.
Okay, Fight with Fire is going to be used while the window's open to take out the Wild Growth Walker. That was probably the last chance that Oscar would have to use Fight with Fire to kill the Walker, so he's going to do so. And you said potentially because we needed a land drop from Mengucci. We got it, and there's Vivian Reed on turn 4.
I think the Jade Light Ranger actually also delivered that, so it was really all coming together. I was actually curious whether Mengucci was maybe going for the -3. On the treasure map.
I thought that might be a possibility as well, but Mengucci is going to plus Vivian Reed and get that card advantage flowing. The hand will be stocked with gasoline, likely for the rest of the game as long as Vivian Reed is on the battlefield.
And both of these activations would have or are a problem for Christensen.
Yeah. Interesting too. Now there's 2 different targets for Vivian Reed, though Mengucci would need a secondary removal spell to take advantage, and it looks like he's content to just get as many cards out of Vivian Reed while she's there. Maybe she'll soak up some hits as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And for Oscar, it's actually not that easy to tap the Phoenix because then it's not available on defense anymore. He's currently at half of the life total of Mengucci.
Right. There's a Merfolk Branchwalker. It's going to garner him another land off the top of the library. He's going to play it. And 4 more mana here. And look at this. Vraska's Contempt to take care of this Rekindling Phoenix. That's the cleanest way to do so for Mengucci. So bye-bye Owl. And in comes the Jade Light Ranger. And things are starting to look very good for Italy here on our middle table.
I mean, Mengu's draw has been pretty ridiculous.
Right.
He's been using almost all of his mana every single turn. No stumbles. Multiple creatures all across the curve, and a 5-drop Planeswalker, the perfect removal spell for Rekindling Phoenix. You can't really make up a much better draw.
He's left Oscar Christensen reeling here, trying to get some type of board-affecting play, and it's another Rekindling Phoenix that will do a good job, at least at the moment, but boy, the way Mengucci's been firing off the spells here, I wonder if he'll even survive the turn. Christensen's life total down to 10 is starting to get pretty precarious as well. Yeah, and you see the math starting to be counted out here by Mengucci. He could start to take, lines of play that you might not normally consider they'd be too short-term benefit here, but if he can just slam on the life total enough, he may even be able to do that. Things like minusing Vivian Reed just to shrink down the
deal with the Phoenix just for a single turn, because if the token doesn't block, that's another 5 or 6 damage you're dealing.
Exactly. And that's what he's going to do. Look at this. He's just going to shoot down the Owl and then bang in there for a whole bunch of damage.
Okay, I was going to say this works if Mengu has a 6th land, because Carnage Tyrant is such a big threat when you're on low life total. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been that confident in this kind of play, because something that Oscar was planning was to kill Vivian Reed with the Rekindling Phoenix, and then drop Siege-Gang Commander. And if you just ignore the Carnage Tyrant on the battlefield,
that works. Yeah.
Suddenly Siege-Gang Commander is the 3-for-1 in your favor. Mango demonstrating why Golgari Midrange is the tier 1 deck of the format. I appreciate going a little bit rogue. I think Big Red is actually a very interesting choice. I think it's a better choice than Mono Red aggro for this tournament. But you can just see that beating Golgari Midrange is never easy.
This was the seat that Christensen is kind of the X Factor seat, right? We see pretty consistent Golgari mid-range Selesnya tokens, or some type of control deck, a Jeskai deck in there or whatever. But there's this is one seat that the team seemed to play around with a bit, and it's Big Red here. We saw Chromatic Lantern Black yesterday, replacing the Golgari mid-range for that team.
But here, Christensen, he could be on Jeskai control. It's but it's also not clear if that would have went much better. This kind of draw, if you don't have the perfect answers, the deafening clarions that you need, you can also really lose quite easily against Golgari midrange. There was a nice final interaction there where Christensen says, I know you have me dead on board, but I'm just going to kill Vivian anyway. Maybe you miscalculate. Maybe you are not
Open up that
confident
possibility.
enough. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. But Manguchi, well, he's not one to fall for that. He is going to clean up the mess on the battlefield here and end the game. So that is game number 1 going to Andrea Manguchi from Team Italy as they move one step closer. I had a chance to go down into the feature match area last round. They were playing against Portugal, and I was doing some photos. I'm doing kind of double duty here this weekend, and the Italian team is probably the most emotive. They lost that round, as you know, being here playing an elimination game, but like Manguchi was really unhappy with it. He let it out a little. He was just like, it wasn't one of those shake hands and then go kind of skulk into the corner. I mean, they really were super disappointed.
It was a close match.
Very, yes.
It felt like the Selesnya tokens had all the tools to beat the Is It Drake's deck, and then somehow the Is It Drake's deck, as it does, just attacks you for lethal over 1 or 2 turns.
It's like, oh, I just took 19. Okay, I guess the game is over.
With a crucial negate to counter the Settle the Wreckage.
Yeah, that was huge. And then also there was a Fiery Cannonade to really reset 2 or 3 cards worth of value. Okay, let's jump in to one of our other tables here where we have Simon Nielsen on the left-hand side of your screen. He is on Selesnya tokens for this one, playing against Chan Mafun, playing also Selesnya tokens. Chan was the one that we saw in that match that we just mentioned. And it looks like we have quite a built-out board here. There's an Ajani on the battlefield.
Yeah, and that's a problem. Usually you can just count the number of History of Benalias, and here it seems like there is some kind of parity for that, but a Planeswalker that pumps your creatures without having to tap them, like with Venerated Loxodon, that is a huge bonus in these mirror matches.
Right. Both of these decks, of course, very adept at getting the tokens onto the battlefield. The question becomes, how can I make mine big enough to be able to attack into yours when we both have a fairly well built out board state? And yeah, Ajani, Adversary of Tyrants, that's one way to do it.
Yeah, and if both decks go wide, it really matters a ton whose creatures are bigger.
Right.
Which is also why I like this technology of Benalish Marshal, where you just say, I'm not going to play double green cards in my sideboard, but this gives me the ability to play a Mirror Breaker in the main deck that is also good in other matchups. Actually, Denmark has their own technology, which Nielsen developed together with the Finnish team, which is main deck Song of Frailes.
Oh, yeah. Hey, we talked about it. You want to go over the top. That is one way to do so. Not only does it allow you to have that devastating turn where you just get to, attack all and let you figure it out, but also those counters stay. You get to +1/+1 counters. Not a temporary effect as far as that goes, and that does similar to what Ajani's doing here.
So actually, all of these cards to somehow get an edge in the mirror pump your creatures, right? Song of Frailes, Ajani, and Banalish Marshal are all designed to beat this creature combat.
Yeah. Now we see a kicked Sapperling migration, further adding to the board here for Tien. This is a Johnny being plussed, throwing around a few more +1/+1 counters, and well, both players have been able to go wide, but it looks like Tien Moon has gone a little taller here, at least in the middle part of this game. That, of course, could all change quite quickly. So there's Chapter 3 on History of Benalia.
Just one night token left, though, I believe.
Yeah, 1 or 2. Yeah, it looks like just 1. The rest are soldiers from a March of the Multitudes last turn.
I've been quite impressed with how Mann has handled the pressure, being on Team Italy. But you can see him smiling when before the game, and then he's really very focused, very precise in navigating this complex deck. And then once the match is over, he's once again all smiles and relaxed, which is really a good property to have as a competitive gamer.
Yeah, being able to turn up that focus when you need to, but also turn it off so that you can play a long day of Magic and not feel like the last round you're just spent.
You have to give your brain and your body also some time to rest. You have to allow yourself to relax.
That's right. So the one knight that was getting that benefit from Chapter 3 is going to attack a Johnny, which is going to prompt a trade here for money. He's going to trade off a token and another token to get the job done. And then a pair of Adanto Vanguard is going to hit the battlefield now for Nielsen, but is that even close to good enough? Are we seeing an ultimate here? Wow, that is a Johnny ultimate, and he's going to get 3 1/1 life-linking cats every turn now. And how is that going to be? How the heck is Simon Nielsen going to get over that? It's just, you're basically getting a free spell every turn, and it's kind of the spell that you want in a deck like this. So
yeah, and it's a spell that's worth about 4, maybe even 5 mana.
Yeah.
So we're not just talking about a very minor effect.
Right. Yeah, some decks, will use this ability, this emblem to win the game just inevitably. But of course, these token decks are built for tokens. They're built to have tokens like this onto the battlefield and take advantage of that fact. So it's just double trouble here for Simon Nielsen. You rarely see a Johnny ultimate. But he was able to hide behind a wall of tokens and get the job done here.
And Mann didn't have to do that. Mann could have waited one more turn and kept the Ajani around, because I think an active Ajani plus his ultimate, that's really backbreaking. It's still probably close to unbeatable, which is why Mann is going for it. But you still have this issue that if Nielsen finds the right pump effects, then suddenly it takes you a long time until you actually make profitable attacks.
Yeah, the fear being a conclave tribunal there from Nielsen to take out a Johnny before.
And then you've basically wasted 7 loyalty.
Right. Wow. And look at this, an attack with 3 creatures as well means that Legion's Landing is going to transform as well. So depending on how Mun wants to use his mana, he could be getting 4 1/1 lifelinkers per turn without using any cards. Just in addition to the draw step.
Actually, Nielsen only has a single 2 toughness creature. So it's at the moment incredibly difficult for him to even block.
So it looks like he's just going to cash in a few soldiers here to trade off as much as possible. Oh no, the Vanguard's double blocked as well just to trade?
Yeah, that didn't look great, but Nielsen is on 8 life.
Right, can't do anything else about it. So 2 mana 1/1s here in Standard, not where you want to be if you're Simon Nielsen.
He did gain a bunch of life with this block, though.
He did. And there's the 3 cats on end step as well. Yeah, it just feels like it's a matter of time at this point. At 22 life for Tian Mun, I mean, how in the world is Nielsen supposed to power over that?
And you called this top deck, Marshall. It's the Conclave Tribunal, which would have punished the greedier line with Ajani.
Oh, boy. Tian Mun's like, I'm a genius. Extremely smart. Unfortunately, though, for Mun at this point, or excuse me, for Nielsen at this point, most of the creatures are pretty redundant on board. He's going to take the best option, the Adanto Vanguard, but it's kind of a so what? It's just another one of the creatures that he's got, and those are certainly expendable at this point for Tian Mun. So,
who could just attack now?
Yeah, he can just start slamming, right?
And he gets 4 more blockers. I don't see Nielsen coming out of that.
Right, 4 lifelinking blockers per turn. Again, draw step aside, let alone if he draws something even better. He's going to be a little conservative here, send in the Saproling. Now Nielsen has a little bit of life total to play with, so he's just going to take the 2. But again, both players get draw steps, but only one player gets a bunch of free 1/1s. Well, this could take quite a while now if that Song of Freyalise gets to that last verse.
Yeah, I think it's too late. You don't have time to wait for the 3rd chapter, and Mun.
Can Mun just start shipping everything?
I think he should go just a little bit more aggressive here.
Yeah.
It seems to me that he's playing around a pump effect so that he has better blocks available, or he might even have a flourish. Okay.
Oh, look at this. Here's a flourish now. And everything is going to attack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 creatures, minimum 3/3. And Nielsen says, I've had enough. I cannot survive. I will just go ahead and scoop them up. So that's a win going to Team Italy there on the back table. And, last we checked, it was Mangucci with the quick win, the convincing Game 1 victory on our middle table, which is where we're going to pop back right now. And Tian Mun as well. So, and look at this. Basilico also picked up his game number 1. So we could see Denmark ushered out of here in short order. Team Italy looks like they don't want to go home just yet.
Italy has been super impressive. The thing with the World Magic Cup is Italy goes 4-0 on day 1. They lose the first round today, and then they are fighting for elimination. So they're fighting for their lives, which is something that is unusual. Usually, if you are undefeated and you lose 1 round, you're not in that kind of spot. But that's just the rules of this competition, which I like. I think it's a very interesting alternative to Swiss play.
Yeah, it's really interesting from a viewership perspective as well. It just adds a whole level of excitement. I mean, it's also just very easy, right? Like when we come into the round, Simon and I will have a chat about, okay, well, what's at stake here? What are we talking about from a big picture perspective? And sometimes the answer is, well, we don't really know yet because of tiebreakers and if these people got paired up, who won that, and so we have to kind of massage it in a different direction. Here, it's just like lose and you're done. That is it. Yep, win and you get a chance to win one more round and then advance. So and I like that. That has a clean feel to it for sure.
You can also follow the nations or at least the captains on Twitter, and they will post exactly things like that, where they say, "We lost the first match, so we have to win the next 2."
For sure.
And that is a very nice summary of the position that Denmark and Italy are in. So
a good start here for Oscar Christensen. He's got the treasure map. He's got the attacker with the chain whirler there. And this is a much slower start for Andrea Mangucci. I mean, we saw him explode starting off with the Llanowar Elf and then using up all of his mana through turn 5.
And that's actually the main difference here. The treasure map Christensen had last game as well, but there it looked like he wasn't even in it.
Right, looked very slow. But Mengucci's going to fight back with a Karn. He revealed 2 copies of Wild Growth Walker.
And I do really like that you can play the Karn even in the face of some attackers on the other side. A lot of Planeswalkers are almost uncastable if there's even a single creature or 2 creatures on the other side. Karn has that loyalty buffer, which makes it possible.
Okay, lots of treasures, which means this could be an explosive turn here for Christensen. Right now, has the guaranteed 3 damage on Karn if he'd like.
No, very likely. If he has some way to deal additional damage, then it's a choice whether to develop your board or to get rid of Karn. But I like just getting Rekindling Phoenix on here. In the end, you want to deal with Karn with your not with your one-shot effects, but with your creatures, because you're not going to lose resources that way. And it looks quite nice for loyalty and for power flyer in the air.
Hand looks pretty good here for Christensen as well, with another Rekindling Phoenix, a Lava Coil, and another Goblin Chain Whirler. So a good amount of action, and let's not forget those 2 treasures plus Treasure Cove equals even more action potentially. So let's see if there is a Vraska's Contempt. Yep, there is. Mengucci gets rid of the key permanent. And this is also really important because, at least from his perspective, it keeps Karn alive, though it looks like that probably won't be the case if Christensen decides just to run out the other Chain Whirler. He also does have an interesting option of cashing in those treasures to just dump 2 big threats onto the battlefield and sort of take the very short term.
Yeah, you don't want to do that, Marshall. You really want those extra cards in a. Effectively, the big red deck is a control deck, and you're going to draw into those mana sources. And then we've actually seen this yesterday, where I was shocked that the chromatic black deck decided to spend 5 treasures to cast.
I had a nightmare about that last.
Yeah, I mean that's just 5 cards down the drain, and
I can still see him just picking up that pile of and just throwing it. I get shivers just thinking about it.
Yeah, the opportunity cost of using these treasures for mana is just too high, if you ask me. This one I like. It's a very easy way to generate some value of the Chain Whirler.
So drew a card, found another land, and was able to maintain 1 treasure rather than having to use up both of them here. And the Chain Whirler, of course, that 1 damage being absolutely key here, stopping a full activation from Karn there. And now Mengucci's starting to fire away here. He's got Wild Growth Walker and a Jade Light Ranger, which are 2 very good friends. They love to hang out together. They help each other out.
And now it is actually already problematic that the Wild Growth Walker is a 3/5. Suddenly, those Chain Whirlers, look quite a lot weaker.
They're too small. That was Mengucci using his relatively high life total here. He just took all that damage, even with the 3/5 Wild Growth Walker, seemingly at the ready to block one of those Chain Whirlers. He declined to do so. And he falls down to 16 life, but again, he had a nice buffer. And there's an Arch of Vraska as well. City's Blessing on the battlefield now, you see, because, as you mentioned, Christensen playing this big red deck, it's a control deck in many ways. And he's now got another card advantage engine to go into the late game. Here's Jade Light Ranger. And it looks like Mengucci's deciding about Vivian Reed. He hit a land first. And does he want to have Vivian Reed on top of the library, or is he not interested? Not interested.
Wow.
You don't see that very often.
I think he has one in hand.
A redundant Vivian Reed. Okay.
Because otherwise, I think Vivian Reed is, even if it's not the perfect card for the current board, it is a card you want to have access to. You want to have at least one.
So it looks like Mengucci, though, is going to be priced into casting Vraska's Contempts over the course of the next 2 turns to deal with these Phoenixes.
Yes, you say priced into, but I think that's exactly what he wants to do. So with Fine Finality, he's not going to get rid of them.
Right.
So he's playing quite smartly, using the life total buffer that you mentioned, and the supreme ability to just generate card advantage. So basically telling Oscar that, okay, you survived the early and the mid game, but it's absolutely not clear that you're going to be winning the late game. And every treasure that you sacrificed for mana, I'm going to punish you for that, because I can play a long game as well.
But once again, Christian just says, hey, if you don't want to block, I'll keep sending them on in there. And Manguchi goes, well, I've got 2 more +1/+1 counters on this Wild Growth Walker, so I'm blocking this time. And sure enough, it gobbles up one of the Chain Whirlers. And it looks like a Lava Coil may finish off the Wild Growth Walker here. And that's exactly what happens.
Which is a bit unfortunate for Mango, because suddenly his Duress is not going to hit anything anymore.
Christensen expertly playing around Duress there. Leaves himself with nothing to take.
Well, I would say Mango kind of allowing Christensen to do that, because if Mango doesn't block, do you really fire off Lava Coil on a 3/2?
No.
It's not what you want to do. So I was surprised to see the block there.
Yeah, especially given that, with any further Explore triggers, he can get back that life quite easily. Like here, he would have been at the same life total anyway.
Exactly. I would have liked to see another no block there.
So Manguchi says go, and Christensen says, I'm going to activate my Arch of Araska. And Manguchi says, well, while you're doing that, let's get rid of this other Rekindling Phoenix. So it gets exiled to that second copy of Raska's Contempt in hand. But Christensen does get that card and then his draw step. So let's see if he can find some action. He did. He found a card.
Arch of Araska is huge.
Oh, it's great.
Without that, the big red deck wouldn't stand a chance in this kind of spot.
And this is one of the benefits to playing a monocolored deck, right? You get to play some utility lands that don't even make colored mana.
It is a small cost, because you are playing a Chain Roller deck, but it's definitely worth it.
Sure.
These are the spots where you're priced into Karn, but you're not super happy about it, because you kind of know you're not going to get what you want.
Or are you?
Maybe you are.
If you just show 2 removal spells. Wow, he gives him the Fight with Fire right now. How much mana does Christensen have?
8. It looks kind of scary.
Yeah, he's also got a land drop to hit this turn.
But he's not going to cast it this turn, because he wants it to kick it next turn.
That's right, and then he can duress it.
Smart.
Manguchi.
And not only is that a smart play, but he didn't really give anything away. He just pointed to it and said, you can have that. Now, of course, Oscar Christensen can say, why did he give me Fight with Fire?
Right. Why would you give me that instead of the other one? Like, I've got 4 mana that you can see right here.
And the only reason is because I would cast Lava Coil this turn, and I would keep Fight with Fire in hand. So he could have actually deduced that there's very likely a discard effect. I don't blame him for not casting it.
The upside is absurdly high.
Exactly. It would have been a really high level play to say, if you give me this, I'm casting it. I would have loved that. And there is Vivian Reed. We mentioned that you want at least one copy of her. Mango seems to play the Vivians very straightforwardly.
Plus.
Plus.
Yeah.
Emblem if you haven't dealt with her at that point.
Fundamentally, it makes sense.
Absolutely. And in some matchups, the target you can take down with Vivian Reed is just super important. I think Crackling Drake is one of these examples, and Chromatic Lantern is another one. But if it's just a medium kind of a target, like a treasure map with 0 or 1 counters, then there is a real benefit to just threatening the ultimate as soon as possible. I would assume that an ultimate is also unbeatable for the big red deck.
Probably. They'd have to kill actual everything.
Well, I think they would need to burn you out.
Yeah.
With a sequence of burn spells.
And that is tough. I mean, we're looking at Menguchi's life total at 19, and you don't really think much of it. But remember how much life he gained over the course of this game. So there's a second Chain Whirler going under Karn. Draw a card. And there's a treasure map. Boy, this Chain Whirler's really pulling duty, though, holding back that entire board last turn so that Karn can keep doing his thing.
The fact that it wasn't killed was huge for Christian. But at the same time, he knows that Mengu doesn't have... Well, Mengu used most of his removal spells. He cast 2 Vraska's Contempts. Vivian Reed is also unlikely to find a solution to the Chain Whirler unless there's a Chupacabra coming.
So Mengu looks like he's going to kick... Well, maybe I spoke too soon. He has a Jade Light Ranger that he can cast. But he's kind of running the numbers here and figuring out how he wants to sequence things. He actually has a lot of options at his disposal.
Kind of difficult to find a good application for Fine Finality if you don't have a Carnage Tyrant in play. Here, I think the main decision is whether to cast Jade Light Ranger first or to start with Vivian Reed. You have a little bit of a danger to... Or just play Karn first.
Right. Another option reveals itself. And 2 good hits here for Menguchi.
Yeah, that's the secret to using Karn. You have to hit 2 good cards.
That's right. Now we can see that treasure map sent away and a potential late game card advantage engine dashed here for Christensen. Christensen really needs to pick up a win here, by the way. Take a look at your match scores right now on the bottom of the screen, and all game 1s went to Team Italy, and this is an elimination round as well, so if Christensen can't right the ship, it'll be 1 match towards Team Italy, and then all they'll need to do is win 1 more game for the rest of this round, and they'll advance. So Christensen really feeling the pressure here from Menguchi.
And they have, I wouldn't say favorable matchups, but this Lesnar Tokens Mirror is a 50% matchup, and Izzet Drakes is definitely a deck that's not unhappy to play against Golgari midrange.
So Menguchi's going to slam in there and knock Karn's loyalty down to 2. And then play the Reclamation Sage to take care of the treasure map. Boy, it feels like Christensen needs to come up with something pretty impressive pretty soon, right? This is kind of the wheelhouse for this Golgari mid-range deck. It's got 2 Planeswalkers now on the battlefield, a fine amount of creatures as well. Christensen's currently losing his treasure map, though he did put the card on top with that scry. So
just imagine if it's a fight with fire, or if it's another Chain Whirler, or he gets one with Karn and plays another one. There are quite a lot of ways for him to get back into this, but this is where he can't play control forever, because it's pretty apparent that he's not going to win this on the battlefield alone.
That's right. So he's going to get Chain Whirler from Karn and cast it, and that's going to take care of 2 of the 3 creatures on the other side of the battlefield and knock a little bit of loyalty off of each of the Planeswalkers. But he needs more than that. He's going to attack Vivian Reed down to 3. So this has so far been a very productive turn here for Christensen, but what was the card that he left on top of the library? It was a Crater Maker?
Goblin Crater Maker.
And he's going to use that to destroy a colorless permanent, and that's going to be Karn hitting the bin. So all told, nice job, Oscar. That was a very good turn for him.
And now we have this spot where he has a Karn, Mango has Vivian Reed, but the Jade Light Ranger is currently stopped by that Chain Whirler. Now, if the Chain Whirler goes down, the untapped Chain Whirler, then I would say Mango is definitely
Vivian Reed
favored.
It's going to take this dog for a walk here, and this is going to be a very devastating turn right back in the other direction. So we see some haymakers flying between our 2 players here, but Andrea Menguchi seems determined to keep the board clear, and so far has been able to do so. Wow, even has that Jade Light Ranger as the follow-up. And look at that, clears away a couple of lands off the top of the library too. But wait, there's more. Jeez, look at this. And he's going to go ahead and keep that off of a Merfolk Branchwalker. He's got another removal spell sitting on top of his library to take care of that Goblin Chain Whirler. Christensen is now just top decking.
Yeah, and he needs to draw. He needs to draw Fight with Fires, Bane Fires. Siege Gang Commander I would also like. Not as good as Fight with Fire, but it would be something that would... Oh, is this Fight with Fire?
It is. He found Fight with Fire. He's going to kick it right off the top of the library, and he can throw 10 damage around however he chooses. And he's going to completely wipe the board of Menguchi, reduce Vivian Reed to 3 loyalty, and then attack with the Chain Whirler to finish her off. Look at that.
Let me fix the advantage bar.
Wow, a clean 5-for-1 off the top of the library from Oscar Christensen puts Denmark right back in this game. Oh, boy.
Okay.
Not a bad turn, though, for Andrea Menguchi. He plays a Carnage Tyrant in addition to the Ravenous Chupacabra that we saw from before, and they are batting this advantage bar back and forth like a ping pong ball here in the feature match area.
And you can't Fight with Fire a Carnage Tyrant.
What if you're in red, what can you do to a Carnage Tyrant? Play a couple of blockers?
Yeah, but even if you have a Siege Gang Commander, that's only 5.
Yeah. Well, he found a land and a Lava Coil, so he can kill the Ravenous Chupacabra if he'd like, but this isn't great.
Let me see if I can find the deck list.
Maybe Star of Extinction in there or something?
Oscar Christensen is playing 3 Star of Extinctions in the sideboard.
Okay. Well, this is game 2.
That's the card we're looking for. He's looking for, we should say. And the important part is that Bane Fire or Fight with Fire is not lethal here.
Well, Find is going to get the value train rolling here. Menguchi deciding to just fire it off. I mean, the truth is that this deck is built around these 2 and 3 drop creatures, right? Like Jade Light Ranger is so important to the game plan here in the mid and early part of the game, and as you can see, even powerful in the late part of the game as well. I think that's, again, going back to the Vivian Reed discussion we had before, Menguchi's pretty content to just say plus, 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 because it finds these, and then these find more, and all of a sudden you've got a whole bunch of cards in your hand, and you're digging through your library to find the stuff that you need at that moment.
And you're manipulating your draw steps so that basically you're never running out of steam.
No, and Menguchi will not run out of steam. That Find dug into a memorial. That was a land off the top. This could be it here for Oscar Christensen. He needs to find something, and he doesn't. It's a pair of mountains. He's going to cast him out. Oh, he almost got Menguchi with that pump fake there. He's going to pick up his cards, but that is going to do it. Andrea Menguchi wins his round for Team Italy. And look at this. We see as we pop in, yes, this is going to do it. Team Italy has won the round and dispatched of Team Denmark. They are done at the World Magic Cup. Their ride will end right here.
We talked to Denmark about the fact that it seems to be a pretty tough group. They said, yeah, for them. Well,
it was a tough group, as it turns out. That's 0-2 for Denmark, and they are out of here. But Team Italy scraps their way to win this round. Now, they're not out of the pod yet, though. They've still got to win the next round in order to actually advance through. But they've, of course, kept their tournament
so
alive.
They will play against the loser of Austria-Portugal. The winner of those will advance or have advanced already. And then in the third round of the day, we're going to see Italy against the loser of that match.
That's right. So great stuff in pod play here in day 2 from the World Magic Cup. We're going to take a short commercial break. When we come back, we'll have a decider for you. Don't go anywhere.
there's a really good game you can play at home. We've just been doing it here at the desk, where you caption the team photos. We won't say how we caption them, but you play along at home. I promise you there's hours of entertainment to be had. All right, so down on the floor, Brian David Marshall, I think I've got the right person this time around. Brian David Marshall is out on the floor to talk to, somebody.
All right, I'm here with Andrea Mengucci. Andrea, you guys are through this pool of death, as it's been called.
We are through? No, we have to win the last. We have to win the last round. We just beat Denmark, and we lost the first round to Portugal. So now we have to win the final round in order to advance to the second pool today.
Okay, now you told me you were undefeated, though, so I didn't realize you were being that selfish in your record reporting to me.
No, I never would do that. You just asked me how's going. I said, I'm undefeated, but I'm playing the best deck in standard, which is black-green. In limited we had some good decks, so I'm very happy with my plays, with my team plays. Against Portugal, it was a very tight game. I hope you saw it. We lost to a very, very close one to negate on our settle, and hopefully we can win the last one. Maybe against Portugal again.
So how did this round play out for you? What do you think was the key? I know you were talking about your teammate being looking like he was in a pretty bad spot there.
Yeah, my teammate mulligan to 5-game-1, and he was coming from a tournament where he had a lot of losses. So he was very down, mulligan to unkeepable hands, and then just somehow top 6 playing Niv Midzet, his black-green opponent didn't kill it, and then he untapped Niv Midzet and killed his opponent in one turn. So it was definitely something. It was something.
Now, what's going on behind us over here? What's happening there? Why are those guys still playing Magic?
We have some Simon Linson, which is a person that loves to play Magic. So I challenged my teammate and said, "Do you wanna finish our game? I don't wanna, because they were down 0-5, so I wanna see if they're 0-6." So I said, "Sure, let's give them the 0-6 if they want the 6-0."
mean, that's really something about the World Magic Cup. Not something I think you maybe would see at a Pro Tour or even a regular Team GP or Team Pro Tour. There is this great atmosphere at this event.
There is indeed. Maybe today is a little bit more, tense, because every match matters. Like, it doesn't matter how much we won. It doesn't matter if yesterday we won 4-0. If today we go 0-2, it's over. So every match matters a lot. So we need to stay super focused, play the best, and advance.
A lot of stuff going on for you this weekend. Also, we found out you are one of the 32 players in the MPL. Congratulations to you. You were written about on the Worldwide Leader of Sports today. That's got to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, I had this, information, but I couldn't tell anyone, and now I can finally, tell the world that next year it will be only Magic for me, for my life. I have a lot going on in my life. I graduated in law, so I was like, I really don't know what to do in my future. But now I have this great opportunity given to me by Magic, the game I love the most. Not only professionally, I just play Magic for fun. I have a cube draft, I love Legacy. So it's just Magic is the best game, and doing it professionally is just the dream. The dream that a lot of you and me, of course, have, and I am one of the lucky ones to succeed it.
Well, congratulations, Andrea. And of course, this is the Mengucci Invitational, sometimes otherwise known as the World Magic Cup. We'll see if he gets to make another top 8. He's got to win one more round, though, after this to keep it going.
I mean, he's finished 4th, he's finished 3rd, he's finished 1st in this room in 2015. Absolutely incredible. Now, I think, if I was paying attention correctly there, a little bit of conversation there went, so Brian says, so the great thing about the World Magic Cup, there's this fantastic atmosphere, camaraderie, and Andrea replies, yeah, when you've beaten someone 5-0, you challenge them to see whether it can be 6-0.
I mean, no, they challenged the other way. Simon was like, well, let's do it. And he said, hey, if you want to have an 06 instead of an 05, no problem.
we can accommodate you.
Yeah, no problem. That was pretty funny.
That was great.
Very nice of them.
Denmark was talking big game. When we talked to them about the pool of death, they said, yeah, it's a pool of death for them.
Yes.
And now they are 0-2, so take that.
I guess so.
A couple of results to impart. We'll look at the scoreboards in a little bit, but just to impart, Malta, who in the previous round defeated Team USA, continue to dominate. They have beaten Uruguay, which means Malta are in to the top 16.
Wow.
We will see them
That
in
is
pool
awesome.
play this afternoon. Fantastic job. Anton Morgenstern leads that team. So that meant that USA were playing South Africa in an elimination match. USA alive. So South Africa are out. Kaloyan Petkov and the crew turns Prinsloo on that team. Seth, Dylan, Justin, still alive. They will face Uruguay in the deciding match of the pool play.
Next round.
Yeah, next round. So congratulations there. Meanwhile, we mentioned at the top of the show that it felt like we kind of ignored Japan yesterday. You know, we'd sort of seen them once, and then they'd quietly gone about business, and they weren't 4-0, but they'd got in at like 4-1. Well, they've 2-0 this morning, and so, you know, here they are quietly through to restart their campaign in the top 16.
They're winning too fast for us to keep up with them, apparently.
That is often a problem. So great stuff. Now, we do have a decider for you. So we've got the Philippines up against France. So both of them won their opening match, which means that this was to see who would advance automatically into the second pool play this afternoon. The loser isn't eliminated. They come back next round to have another crack at it. So Philippines and France, let's head down once again to our feature match area for you, and it's going to be Timothée Jamo against Yan Ang, the captain of the Philippines. I can tell you there's been some pretty extensive mulliganing in this one. Not sure which side, but it looks to me like there's quite a lot of cards on the Philippines side of the table. Maybe Jamo is not terribly well positioned. But anyway, here's Marshall.
Yeah, he's missed two
Simon.
land drops, so things are not looking good for Timothée Jamo and the team from France here. Though, as Rich did mention, Simon, this is not an elimination. This is a decider to move forward for the winner, and the loser of this round will have an additional round to go.
Yeah,
but
you
this
can
one
see
could be done very
Jamo
quickly.
mulliganed so many times that his hand just disappeared from the shot.
He did not mulligan to 0, Simon. Though I believe he mulliganed to 5 and kept a pretty sketchy one here because it looks like 1 planes from the Selesnya tokens deck. Meanwhile, Jean Eng is sitting here on 4 lands and looking beautiful with a full stacked hand. The question is just how quickly can John get the job done here.
This is so tough. We're already playing up to 9 games to decide the winner of each of these rounds. And then it does come down to 1 game only, and you have to mulligan. You miss your second land drop. That's, of course, not where you want to be.
What % chance do you think Jamon has at this point to win?
From this board
From
position?
right now, yep. Is it less than 1?
It's significantly less than 1.
Okay.
It's probably in the range of 0.1-ish.
A tenth of 1?
Like, even that seems optimistic, because that means for every 1,000 games you play from this board state,
You would win 1. Which probably happens, yeah. In the meantime, the good news for Timothée is that he's back up to 7 cards. Bad news is that he went up to 8 and had to discard because he hasn't hit a land drop. I mean, you know, on the other side of the table, Philippines hasn't actually done much yet. Now, this is the first spells that they've actually cast, but it should be academic at this point for them to move forward with their Jeskai control deck. Play something like a Teferi, and the game effectively ends.
The crucial thing here is actually to hit your land drops, because you have all these reactive cards, and if your opponent doesn't cast anything, you also can't use your reactive cards, or at least they don't have any value, any utility.
Look at this flex here from John Eng. Discards a Deafening Clarion. It's just like, don't need it, I guess, against the token stack. That might prompt a concession on the spot. Yeah, this is a brutal way to go out for France, but as we mentioned before, this does not eliminate them from the tournament. Having won their first round here in pod play means that they are going to get another shot at it next round against somebody else in their pod. And that will be an elimination. So they're going to be feeling the heat here for sure. But this is pretty cool. This is Philippines advancing, by the way. John Eng needs to go through the motions here to finish off this game, but it looks trivial at this point, as now we've discarded a hand size 3 times off of a mulligan to 5 in the seat for Timothée Jamon, and that is just brutal. Mm-hmm. The real question is, how much more can he take?
So we've actually had 6 discards to hand size.
All right, now the game's over. Yeah. Yes, we have, including 2 deafening clarion, and this game is just done. There's a draw step, kill your thing. Sure, 5. So really impressive, though. Philippines 2-0s their pod and advances. Has to get over France, which is very, very, I mean, they've traditionally fielded some pretty strong teams here at the World Magic Cup, and they just skip right past them. Now, France on the other side of the table, though, they're not done yet. They're going to get to play one more round, an elimination round, in fact, next round against, well, somebody in their pod. I don't know who offhand.
Yeah, I mean, it's always pretty hard to get over France because there are so many mountains.
And there's the handshake. Thank you. Thank you for that, Rich.
You're welcome. So Timothée Jamo did his best, but it was really just a Selesnya token gesture. Aren't you glad,
Simon, you
that
deal
you're here
with
at the
him.
desk?
I always have to deal with him. You deal with him.
I have to deal with him because I live in Europe.
Yeah, that is true.
So I see him about 3 times as many times.
Well, think about it from my perspective. He flies across the ocean to do this to
and
me.
he prepares a joke in the 10 hours that he takes in.
There's
A single joke.
There's a lot of jokes you can work through on a 10-hour flight to Seattle, let me tell you.
I wish Simon was kidding, but he's definitely.
What else are you going to do? I've seen all the movies.
Yeah.
All right. So, welcome back. So, congratulations to the Philippines. Fantastic work by them. Yan Ang and the team advance to the top 16. Remember, in the next round, the field shrinks even further. We go down this round from 32 to 24, and then we will go down again in the next round from 24 to 16 as the 8, 1 and 1 matches battle. Out on the floor, there are still a couple of matches remaining. We'll work through the scoreboard in a little bit. But as you know, we are here in Barcelona. That's why Marshall spent 5,000 miles to get here. And the Spanish are a fantastic hosts here, not just in Barcelona, which is an amazing city, but the Spanish community. And right now, Spanish Magic is in a pretty great shape. So I wonder if that's anything to do with the home cooking. Brian David Marshall has more.
What's this year been like for you? Just tell me about like the run you've had of Magic over the last 12 months.
Well, Magic for me this year has been like just too much above I could ever expect the year to be for me. Like it's just like so much higher than that. Like just winning gold, my first PD top 8. Just like I just don't have words to express like how happy I'm about that. I'm Javier Dominguez from Palau de Plegamans, Spain. And we are my teammates Tony Ramis and Alexander Callado. I'm gonna try to win the World Magic Cup 2018. It's also here, Spain, in my hometown, next to Barcelona. So I'm really excited to compete there this weekend. Yeah, we are protesting in my parents' house, the house where I grew up. So it's obviously a very special testing house for me. I can get the best of both worlds, like testing houses with friends from other places like Argentina, Hong Kong or whatever. And also I'm visiting my family and seeing my parents, my sisters. So yeah, I'm just having a great week. About Alex, I didn't really know Alex before the World Magic Cup, and I'm really happy how he's working on the process.
Oh, well, I am Alexander. I have 28 years old. I'm a control player for sure. I'm not the best one, but I will do my best. Yeah, I was so excited to play against an aside Javier, because I always see him on my house, and now we are here together. He's an inspiration for me, and I think for every Spanish player, because he's the best player in the world. What else can we say?
Tony is just a very good standard player. Like he's played a lot of GPs, has a few GP top 8s, and he's often seen on the high tables on European GPs. I'm pretty sure a lot of people playing those GPs have seen him before. So yeah, he's like our second weapon there for the tournament.
Hello, I'm Tony Ramis. I'm from Inca, Spain. I like to win. I don't like to play because I like to play the best deck, and I travel in different Pro Tour, GPs, or another tournaments with Javier.
So my reaction when I won gold, I just like cannot even remember what was going through my head. But yeah, it was like such a burst of energy for me. Just like my body just did that. Everyone in Spain was supporting me and just like meant a lot to me, of course.
Hola, soy Ana Gómez, madre de Javier Domínguez, el mejor jugador de Magic del mundo. Pues muy orgullosa, no tengo palabras, es que no puedo expresar el orgullo que sentí. Algo que también llevaba mucho tiempo esperando, porque creo que es muy merecido. Entonces fue como una una inmensa satisfacción.
Well, they just came to the airport to, with yes, they made a special shirt, and it was like super special.
It's a dream come true for Spanish. Javier, in his life, magic is very important. All day he think about what deck, what strategy, card, and I'm very happy for Javier. Él se lo merece, ¿cómo sería? He deserves it.
Did he tell you to say that?
Bien, estoy acostumbrada. Desde bien jovencito han venido aquí jugadores de Magic que han sido campeones de España y yo estoy acostumbrada a tener a amigos de él y compañeros de juego y son muy buenos chicos. Siempre he estado bien con ellos, muy bien.
Having mom cooking the food for the week is definitely a big upside. Not only like it's obviously food I love, but also like keeps us more focused on the actual testing. So my family is also going to be in the World Magic Cup, like my parents, my sisters. So they never been in a tournament like that. I have never brought them to like Worlds or PT or something. So they really like the advantage bar. Like my father doesn't even understand the game, but he always tries to push the bar on my direction. Like, come on, win.
No entiendo las cartas, no entiendo el juego, pero cuando estaba viendo el campeonato, cuando veía la raya roja Javier Domínguez, yo empujaba, más, para allá, porque le había que un poquito más, para que yo sabía que si ganaba en el rojo, si el rojo, la flecha roja iba al final, ganaba. Fue demasiado, lo pasé mal, muy nervioso, pero cuando ganó fue lo máximo, fue muy grande.
I'm very happy, not for me, I'm most happy for the Spanish community because Spain in all World Magic Cup not have a good results and last year we have to win in-house. Obviously we want to win, but I know it's very difficult, but Javier is the world champion now and if you play with the best player you can win.
Winning the World Magic Cup in Spain will be obviously very special. I'm sure winning a tournament like this is obviously very special to anyone that wins it, ever. But winning something like that in your hometown has to be even better, right? And I think it will be also good from Spanish Magic. I think the Spanish Magic is in a good moment right now, but we never did well in the World Magic Cup. I don't think we had a top 8. So I think it's about time to finally get there.
Great stuff there. Welcome back to the news desk. Now, there are several quirks about the World Magic Cup, and one of them is the idea of how often you can play a team. Because once you're in a pool, your destinies are kind of locked in. So let's consider a completely hypothetical of, let's say that Italy played Portugal this morning, and Portugal won. So they're about to play in the winner's bracket, and Italy lost, so they're now in the losing bracket.
Hypothetically.
Then let's say in round 2, which in our hypothetical world would have just happened, Portugal lose in the winner's bracket and are now at 1-1.
To Austria, maybe.
Good country, good call. And then let's imagine that Italy, in this imaginary Italy, 0-1, win and are now at 1-1. Eliminating the 0-2. So the 2-0 are through, the 0-2 are out. That leaves only 2 teams at 1-1. One of them would be Italy, the other one would be Portugal, the ones who played 2 rounds ago.
The first round, yeah.
Yeah. That can happen at the World Magic Cup. Now, I'm not saying it will, I'm just saying it could. Why don't we take a look at scoreboards here on day number 2. There's one match out on the floor, still going, and I think the words turbo fog have been uttered. Simon, sad news. Peru 4-0 yesterday. The team of the day, heroes all, Francisco Cifuentes and the team, but a loss to Australia in round 1 and a loss to Canada in round 2. Farewell to Peru.
Perfect day 1, worst case scenario on day 2.
Meanwhile, what that second round loss to Canada means is that Canada, who lost to Finland in round 1, they are still alive. They dodge bullet number 1 and now have to win their third round. Meanwhile, Finland defeated Canada and they are still going against Australia. It is possible that the words turbo and fog are featuring in that match. So it wouldn't surprise me if the green and gold are still going in that one. All right, let's move on to Pool B and show you where we are there. So this is straightforward so far. Hungary beat Wales in round 1. Then they beat Israel, and that is the first defeat for Israel. They were 4-0 yesterday, won last round. Shahar actually lost his first round this morning, and both the other teams, his teammates, won. But now Israel have a first loss. So what that means, as we look at that pool, is that Hungary are through, Wales are out. Israel will face Estonia to determine who advances to the top 16. Let's move to Pool C. And in Pool C, we have Hong Kong advancing because they've beaten Germany and Slovenia, which is a really tough road.
Really nice.
Great job. What that means is it's farewell to our Grand Prix Liverpool champions, the Mexico national team. Unfortunately, miss out Marcelino, Freeman and the team. Lost to Slovenia, then that loss to Germany eliminates them. What that means is that Slovenia, Robin Dolar and the team will face Christian Hauck, Mark Tobias, David Joachim of Germany. So, Simon, the boys are still alive. The dream for Mark Tobias, going one stage better than the semi-finals, still alive.
Yep. And they have a team in Slovenia that they definitely can beat. But if they don't, they're out.
I can tell you, just for a moment, back in Pool A, result come in. Finland have defeated Australia. Finland advance. Australia will face Canada in the final match of the pool. But now, Pool D. Now, what's going on here, I wonder? Let's take a look at Pool D if we can. This featured Italy, Portugal, Denmark, and Austria. Marshall, what's going on here then? Perhaps you could explain this one to us.
Hypothetically, or
no, because this is like a real Pool D.
So you can see that Portugal and Italy played against each other there in round number 1. Yeah, they're the only two teams left here. One of them's been eliminated, and the other one has advanced past this pool, meaning they're going to play each other in round number 3. Who could have seen that coming?
It's a small sample size, but Portugal just beat Italy. So they are the ones that have to prove that they can win this matchup.
And it was really close. I mean, we saw that,
Right.
Gucci mentioned that in his interview with BDM, that there was a negate on a settle the record.
Yeah.
It was that close.
Yeah. But,
So-
I mean, you can say it's close, but, like, empirically, 1-0, today, Portugal are demonstrably
That is
infinitely
a very
better than
large gap.
Italy at
Yes,
Magic.
it is true.
It is an infinite gap. It's as big as it gets.
Boy, that is going to be contentious, too. That was really... I was standing in the feature match area for that, taking some photos. It was intense.
Was it not the traditional World Magic Cup camaraderie all around?
No.
Not quite?
No, I mean, they weren't, yelling at each other, but it was... Yeah, I want to go down there for that one again.
Well, we can arrange that for you, Marshall.
Okay,
So
I'm in.
Denmark are out. That means no Simon Nielsen repeating as a World Magic Cup champion. The Dane Blast is over for this year. Austria, great job by them. Let's move on to Pool E, where we have the news that China have advanced with wins over Thailand and Belarus. Belarus, meanwhile, a win against Romania, then that loss to China. So they will play against Thailand to see who makes it in. Akarash Sorakap for Thailand amongst the team there, looking forward to a deciding match 3. Romania, they are done. Raul Porojan led the team, 3 GP top 8s, good team leader, but they couldn't get the job done today. Belarus and Thailand defeats them and they are out. So Pool F is up next, and what do we have here, Simon?
Let's see. South Africa was the first seed in Pool F, but then 2 losses, and I think a lot of our viewers and also the person sitting next to me is going to be quite happy because that means the United States is still alive despite losing to Malta in the first round. Now, that's something that I wouldn't have expected.
Right. I mean, that is a truly stunning victory and something that the Maltese community will always be able to look back on.
And that must be one of the tiniest nations, one of the tiniest communities we have in the World Magic Cup.
Yeah,
For sure.
In fact, I'm pretty sure, knowing my World Magic Cup history, that they were the 73rd country into the World Magic Cup before Honduras became the 74th this year. So USA will play Uruguay to determine who joins Malta in the top 16 from Pool F. Let's go to Pool G, and we'll show you what's happening there. The Philippines advance. Sweden, Joe Larson is done.
Wow.
So that's the end for that, and that means that Jean-Emmanuel Depras for France and Nam Sung-wook leading the South Korean team, they will square off to see who advances. And finally, Pool H. We'll show you that and bring you up to date, and that is the Japanese pool. They were the top seed, and look at that. Marshall, there they go, through again. Thank you. Knockout, beat Ukraine, beat Slovakia. Job done.
Yeah, it looks like they, like you said earlier, Rich, they just quietly, calmly, coolly, collectedly work their way right on through. That's going to leave Ukraine and Slovakia, though, to fight it out for that last spot out of that pool.
All right, well, the pairings are known. The pairings are up. We are gearing up to get 8 more teams into the top 16. Don't go anywhere. It's elimination magic all the way in round 3 of the World Magic Cup.